Anime fans, Naruto fans, what is good? The answer to that question, of course, is Naruto. Naruto is what's good. We all know Kushina Uzumaki, wife of Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, and the mother of Naruto Uzumaki, the 7th Hokage, who is also the protagonist of the series and the hero of the 4th Great Ninja War. The vast majority of fans realize the sheer power Minato and Naruto possess, and that the two are some of the strongest shinobi to ever live in the series. But I don't think everyone realizes that Kushina was also a monster. Before I begin explaining the strength of Kushina, I just want to say that in this video, I'm ignoring her Jinchuriki powers in all of this. Kushina viewed the Ninetales as a threat and restrained it and choked all of its power and never learned how to use it and never wanted to learn how to use it. All the abilities I'm talking about are completely outside the Kyuubi Chakra Cloak or Kyuubi Chakra Mode. This is all just Kushina herself, the Ninetales excluded, because if you add the Ninetales to all of this, you don't even want to know what that would look like. Oh my goodness. But man, let's just get into it. Kushina was a girl from Uzushio-gakure, or the Hidden Eddy village in the land of Whirlpools. Uzushio-gakure was populated by the Uzumaki clan, as I think most of you kind of know. The Uzumakis are kind of renowned for their Fuinjutsu, which is also called sealing techniques. Their Fuinjutsu was so strong that they were targeted and killed for it in the times of war, which did end up leading to the dissolvement of their village. The Uzumaki clan was also renowned for their ridiculously strong life force and giant chakra reserves, so that's kind of where Naruto got his giant chakra reserve outside of the Ninetales, I guess. And their ridiculously strong life force did allow them to live abnormally long, earning the village the nickname of the Village of Longevity. At a young age, Kushina was taught sealing techniques capable of sealing a tail beast inside of someone, as well as other various strong sealing techniques. And after being shipped to Konoha and becoming the second Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi and falling in love with Minato, she taught him a lot of the sealing technique he uses, which probably means she also taught him the Reaper Death Seal, considering the Reaper Death Seal originated from the Hidden Eddy village. So it could be that Kushina was able to use the Reaper Death Seal. Of course, that's just my headcanon, but I think it's pretty likely considering she recognized it when even Orochimaru didn't know what it was, and it came from her village. She most likely taught Minato how to use it. So right off the bat, we can see she's not an ordinary shinobi because she has access to powerful ceilings and a strong life force, which is said to be even stronger than their normal Uzumaki's life force. Speaking of which, let's take a moment to examine her life force, because this stuff is insane, bro. After having the whole Ninetales extracted from her by Obito, Kushina didn't immediately die or die soon after. She hung on to life for a bunch of minutes, minutes upon minutes after the extraction, and was doing stuff. She was capable of standing up and hugging people or whatever. Most Jinchuriki, they either immediately die, or in the case of Gaara, he was about to die, he couldn't even move, he was basically in a coma, you know what I'm saying? But Kushina? She was still conscious, she was even capable of standing up and maybe even hobbling around a little bit. And in this state of near death, she performed some of the craziest feats in the entire Naruto universe. On top of being half dead, she said herself that she was almost out of chakra. So keep this in mind, she's dying, she's half dead, probably 3/4 dead, and she is almost out of chakra. But in this state, the lowest state somebody could possibly go, she used her most likely most powerful jutsu, her adamantine sealing chains, and she chained down the whole powered Nine-Tailed Fox. Yes, she literally bound up Kurama and just had him caught, you know what I'm saying? And remember, Kushina is on the verge of death and she's almost out of chakra. And this isn't the half of Kurama that we knew in Naruto for most of the series. This is the entire fully powered Nine-Tailed Fox. I mean, that's pretty insane. And remember, just a moments before this, the Nine-Tailed Fox was absolutely slaughtering the Jonin and Chunin of the Hidden Leaf, and even giving Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, a pretty hard time of it. Hiruzen ended up pushing the Nine-Tailed Fox out of the village, but was still saying he needed Minato there to help him, and the rest of the Jonin and Chunin were just getting whooped, and the Anbu were getting whooped. Like, this fox was no joke at the time, and Kushina, almost dead and almost out of chakra, just casually binds this thing up. I'm gonna get back on the chains in a little bit because those chains are much stronger than people give them credit for, but with these chains, Kushina also made a barrier that was so powerful around the Nine-Tailed Fox. Not only did it keep the Nine-Tailed Fox from escaping and its attacks from getting to the outside world, it kept Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, out. Like, Hiruzen could not really get in. Now, I know some people might be trying to say, oh, well, that was just plot, but you can see clearly in this panel right here, Hiruzen punches the barrier and says whatever they're doing, they're trying to do it alone, desperately to the other Jonin. So you can see that Hiruzen did want to get inside of the barrier. Now, to be fair, we didn't see Hiruzen give a ton of effort, and it could be because he thought that if he destroys the barrier, the Nine-Tailed Fox will get out, or that he might hurt Minato and Kushina. But you can see he wanted to get inside, but he just couldn't. Even if that was the case, and he was afraid that he might hurt Minato or Kushina, or he might let the Nine-Tailed Fox out, I don't think it's him wanting to not let the Nine-Tailed Fox out, considering the fact that this thing was bound up in chains, and if it's Hiruzen Sarutobi, it's not like he can't keep it back. It was probably more something along the lines that he didn't want to hurt Minato and Kushina, which will mean he would have to use enough power to destroy the barrier and possibly hurt them. But I actually don't think that's the case. The barrier was capable of holding the entire Nine-Tailed Fox, keeping it from getting out even if it got out of the chains. And considering the fact that Hiruzen didn't feel confident enough to beat the QB by himself without Minato, I think it's a fair assumption to say that he actually could not get inside the barrier, especially because he was showing signs that he wanted to be inside. And that's pretty crazy. This is Kushina Uzumaki. She said she wanted to be Hokage, we know that, but I don't think a lot of people are considering her on that tier. But her barriers at least can give Hiruzen Sarutobi a super hard time of getting in and out of them. And to top it all off, remember, right now I'm talking about Kushina's insane life force. After having the QB extracted and having almost her chakra depleted, she's chaining down the Nine-Tails and she's creating a barrier that keeps Hiruzen freaking Sarutobi out and the Nine-Tailed Fox in, and also all the other Jonin that were with him out. On this dregs of her power, she also gets impaled through the stomach by the claw of the Nine-Tailed Fox, and yet this woman still is not dead. She still holds on to life for a couple more minutes. Do you realize how insane that is? If you're talking about Kushina like in a fight or something, bro, do you realize how hard it would be to kill her if she can withstand all of this? She's near on immortal, bro. I mean, not immortal, but it takes a lot to kill Kushina Uzumaki. Now let's circle back to her adamantine chains as I said. As I said, when she was half dead and depleted of all her chakra, she was able to chain down the Nine-Tailed Fox, or not all her chakra, most of her chakra. She was still able to chain down and bind Kurama, right? And now I know some of the people out there might be saying that's because it's a sealing jutsu, and we know Kushina was taught techniques on how to seal a tailed beast or keep one down from a young age. That's what her village specializes in. That's why she was able to chain down the Nine-Tailed Fox like that. But that is actually wrong. The adamantine chains are not, they're sealing chains for sure, but it's not like the Nine-Tailed Fox is the only use for them. Kushina can actually attack and thrash and pulverize just anything she wants, like mountains, trees, people. She can use those chains for normal combat. You might ask how I know that, and the answer on that would be in Kushina Uzumaki. In the 4th Great Ninja War, Kushina used adamantine chains to shatter multiple hands of the Kanzeon Lotus King, Tobi's wood-style summon that was stalemating the entire Shinobi Alliance. This is the wood statue that was matching Hiruzen Sarutobi, reanimated with an eternal supply of chakra, right? This thing shot out all 5 elements and almost destroyed like 1,000 shinobi, and Hiruzen had to like block it and stuff. Its hands were just going around and bodying all these jonin, right? Like hundreds or thousands of Jonin are being taken out by this thing, and they couldn't really get around it. And Kareen, when she snapped, she used her adamantine chains, and she flailed them around and destroyed multiple arms of this wooden statue that was summoned by Toby and was taking out a lot of the Jonin around. Now you might say that could be a different technique than the one that Kushina uses, but actually it was confirmed by Orochimaru himself right here that this is the same technique that Kushina uses, which obviously makes sense considering that they're both Uzumaki. But the thing that Kareen used, the adamantine chains, is an incomplete version of the adamantine sealing chains. So I guess it's just not as powerful or not the completely evolved version, which means Kushina's is stronger, and Kushina clearly has more chakra than Kareen and better techniques than Kareen. So imagine if Kareen, who is kind of fodder, can do all that when her adamantine chains come out, like going around here shattering the arms of a Kanzeon Lotus King. Imagine if Kushina is at full power and using these adamantine chains. You're getting dragged, bro. You're getting annihilated. Like, it's insane. In addition to all the crazy information I just told you, man, I think it's worth noting that Kushina had access to the wind, water, and yin chakra releases. According to Tsunade, Naruto's ninjutsu reminds her of Kushina's. Given the fact that at the time Naruto was only using shadow clones, Rasengans, and wind techniques, I think it's safe to assume that Tsunade was referring to the wind aspect of Kushina, although of course that isn't confirmed and is kind of just headcanon. But either way, outside of her chains and light force and sealing techniques, Kushina was still a capable shinobi with normal elemental jutsu in the form of the water and wind chakra releases. So now, bro, I'm gonna put it in perspective for all of you. Kushina Uzumaki had an unimaginably strong life force that made her almost impossible to kill, and an abnormally giant reserve of chakra, access to powerful sealing techniques so strong it made people target her clan enough to wipe them out because they were so scared of them. She's able to form adamantine sealing chains, able to chain down a full power Kurama when she is almost dead and out of chakra, and also able to use those chains to attack normally and do stuff like destroy wood-style Buddha statues that are almost as strong as something Hashirama would do. She's also able to create barriers strong enough to contain the full power Kyuubi and keep the third Hokage out while she's almost dead and out of chakra once again, and also able to use presumably strong wind and water release techniques, since most of the stuff we're scaling Kushina from is when she's almost dead and out of chakra, as I've said a million times already. Imagine a non-damaged, healthy Kushina at peak physical condition with max chakra reserves with nothing going against her. Imagine how strong this freaking woman would be, bro. In light of all this, bro, I can't put her any less than a pretty strong Kage level. Of course, Kage level is a giant range, but Kushina is definitely stronger than Tsunade or Kakashi. And she's like on the plane, I believe, of the quote-unquote mid-tier Kage level characters we know of. If I'm honest, I suspect she can go to toe with the likes of Kakuzu or Sasori. And like, I'm serious on that. I think she's strong as Kakuzu, Deidara, Sasori. I think that's how strong Kushina is in light of all the things I just told you. But anyway, after watching this video, man, tell me what you think of my views on Kushina Uzumaki, if you think I'm highballing or lowballing her, and how strong you think she is in comparison to the rest of the characters in the Naruto franchise. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, and only if you enjoy my content, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Naruto and anime content. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Bye.